Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the CBT podcast. We are back for another episode. I'm JJ. This is Rod. This is Ethan. We want to thank you for the recent support on the videos lately. We really appreciate it. And if you like what you see in this, drop a like and subscribe. Now, today we're doing something a little different from our typical video where we're doing our rankings of top 10 point guards. So let's just get straight into it. Rod, do you want to start? Who do you have at your number 10?
Yep. This was very difficult, obviously. So don't hate on us too much. This is just our opinions. But at my number 10 spot, I had a player who just broke out this year for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I had Darius Garland as my number 10.
Okay.
Ethan?
That is exactly why I had number 10 too.
I had Darius Garland at number 10 as well.
Okay.
So we're all in agreement. Darius
Let's go.
Garland is the 10th best guard in the point guard in the NBA. All right, Rod, you're number 9.
Okay, for number 9, this may be a little more unpopular, but veteran Milwaukee Bucks, I had Jrue Holiday.
Oh, interesting. Ethan, you're number 9?
I put there Lamelo Ball.
Oh,
Charlotte
whoa.
Hornets.
At number 9,
Yes.
I had Jrue Holiday as well.
Okay.
So some agreement from Rod and I. Ethan, why do you have LaMelo so high? I just want to ask real quick.
As we get into my list, you'll see who I have, and then I'll explain a little bit if you want me to, but I feel like it's just Lamelo deserves that spot.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Number 8.
Number 8, I had a guy who I may have ranked a little highly than most people, one of my favorite players in the league. I was trying to be unbiased here, but recently traded to the Atlanta Hawks, I had Dejounte Murray.
Oh, so did I. At number 8.
Okay. At number 8, I had a guy who I was leading the campaign for this season that he was underrated. He played for the Spurs. His name is Dejounte Murray at
Yeah.
number 8. Okay. Rod,
Okay.
number 7?
Number 7, okay. I think those first 3 guys, that was a tier of guys on their
Okay.
own.
I
Okay, a little
agree
bit of
with that.
disagreement there. This is where it's gonna get a little bit more spicy. I called Darius Garland a breakout player. This guy was an actual breakout player. MVP candidate this season. I had Ja Morant as my number 7 point guard.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay, Ethan.
Ooh, I had to put CP3 down there at number
At
7.
number 7, I had Chris Paul as well. Rod, I have to ask, Ja Morant, as you said, was an MVP candidate last
Yep.
season. Why do you have him so low on this list?
Well, the way I went about it is I looked at body of work, and I admit Ja last season was magical, breakout by every meaning of the word, but I still think Chris Paul, for what he does for the Suns, is just a little bit better than Ja Morant right now. Next season it could completely change, but as of right now, still have CP3 above Ja.
Yeah, the way I see it, just straight up, if you ask me who's better, Chris Paul or Ja Morant, I'm going to say Ja Morant. So that's why I have him higher on this list. Let's move into the number 6 spot where things could continue to get interesting.
Okay, for my number 6, this was difficult. Like I said, there are no easy picks in this range.
Not at all.
I had to go off what I've seen from this guy in the past, really, because last season was all over the place. But I had Kyrie Irving as my number 6 point guard.
Okay, Ethan?
I had new teammate to Dejounte Murray, Trae Young.
Whoa!
Wow.
At my number 6, I had a guy who's a little crazy off court, Kyrie Irving as well. Trae Young at 6 is not something that I expected to hear coming into this video. I'm gonna need to hear you defend this because.
And does that mean you have Ja above Trae?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Give your defense. You're on trial.
Just from what I've seen from all of my other players that I had to pick from, I just thought that Trae Young was just like I said, it wasn't an easy choice. So I think he's still in that tier of great point guards, all-star starter, all that stuff. But I just feel like he's not as good as my next 5 in the league at all.
Okay.
So,
okay, so the guy who led the NBA in points and assists is the sixth best player at his position.
yes.
Not too much more about that. Let's move into number 5. Rod,
Number
who did you have
5.
sitting at 5?
Number 5, point guard, floor general. This is where I had CP3.
Okay, yeah, I respect it. Ethan, after a
number
questionable one?
5, I had Mr. Looney. I
What?
had Mr.
Oh.
Crazy.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
Kyrie
thought you
Irving.
meant come on.
No,
I was so
no.
confused.
Kyrie Irving.
At number 5, I had a guy who is, in my opinion, the most electric player in the NBA, the most exciting player in the NBA, and that is Demetrius Jamel Morant, MVP candidate this season.
Not
As you
Demetrius.
said, his playmaking's increased. If he can get his shooting a little better, then he's really in the conversation for best point guard in the NBA. Anything to say about those picks?
No.
Nothing? All right, let's move on. Number 4. Rob.
Number 4. This was I went back and forth many times on this, but I ended up giving the nod to the guy right above this player, and I had Trae Young at 4.
Okay. Ethan?
Ooh, I gave it to a guy that you guys are not going to agree with at all, and that's fine. A man that was injured for all the season for the most part, Damian Lillard.
Yeah, Damian Lillard did have a really bad year last year. I mean, he only averaged 24 and 7 on 40% from the field and 32% from 3. So number 4 seems exactly right for him because he has
Okay.
been the number 2 in the NBA for a while prior to last season. Damian Lillard is my number 4 as well. Now we're into the top 3, the true upper echelon of point guards in the NBA. Rod, who do you have sitting just ahead of Trae Young?
I had to go with Damian Lillard here. As you guys said, last season was not very good, but I've seen too much from Dame to judge him just based off last season. I had to show him enough respect and keep him at 3.
Okay, so you don't think last season will continue. It's not going to be a trend.
Bounce back
Okay.
here for Dame and coming.
I hope so. I like Dame. I think he's good. Not sure about that. Ethan, who did you have sitting at the bottom of your top 3?
In my top 3, I had the second most electric player in the league, John Morant.
Who do you have at number 1 for that? Just curious. Most electric
Curry.
player. Steph Curry. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. At number 3, I had a guy who we've mentioned before. I am not a huge fan, to say the least, but you cannot deny this guy's greatness on the offensive end. He led the NBA in points and assists. Trae Young is at number 3. I think his playmaking is what sets him above Dame in my eyes. I don't think Dame's ever been as good of a passer as Trae Young is at this point in his career. The top 2, I think now we're getting into agreement territory. Rod, who do you have at number 2?
One of the best young players in the history of the NBA, will continue to dominate this league for years to come, but not the best point guard yet. I had Luka Doncic at number 2.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ethan.
Yep, same goes here.
Now, for my top 2,
Oh,
Luka Doncic is one of my favorite players in the NBA. And had we been making this point guard list at the end of the regular season prior to the playoffs, Luka Doncic would be sitting at my number 1 spot because I think he's that good. He's going to be a top 15 player all time. Conversation for another day. But after the playoffs, I had no choice but to put Luka Doncic at my number 2 spot in this list. And that leaves only the number 1 spot. There's one name all of us have not said yet. And Rod, Ethan, who's that guy?
Yeah, you want to look at that sign behind you right there? You want to tell me what name that says?
Curry gave me PTSD as a Celtics fan watching those NBA finals. Every time I see a 3-pointer go in from this point onwards, I'm going to think of Steph Curry because he is really that good. Maybe the best point guard ever. Do you guys have an opinion on that?
I definitely have him over Magic, and I think by the time he retires and he wins another championship or 2, that'll just be set in stone.
Yeah. Ethan?
I think when it's all said and done, he'll be over Magic and he'll be the greatest point guard of all time.
Yeah, when I compare them head to head, the only thing I feel like Magic's really better at is playmaking. And obviously he was like 6'9", so he has the size. But the things that Curry has been able to accomplish in this league is unbelievable. I mean, it sounds stereotypical to say, but he did change the game. Now, when you see a guy pull up from 30 feet, instead of thinking, what is he doing? You're like, oh, that's actually not a bad shot. That has a chance of going in. So any closing thoughts on the point guard list? Anything you guys want to go back and talk about?
I want to quickly talk about Ethan. You think Ja Morant, after one season, a season where in the 20-something odd games he missed, his team, what was they
It
went like
was like
20 and
17 and
or
2
I thought
or
it was like
something.
20 and 2 or
It might
something
have
like
been. I
that.
don't know. It's something in 2.
So so Ethan, you had him at 3, right? I had him at 7.
Yes.
I think that was the biggest difference in like all of our rankings
So
throughout
we
the
had
whole
him
list.
at 3, 5, and 7
So it ends
were
up
our
at
rankings.
5 if we wanted to average it out. But yeah, I just, like I said, I looked at body of work and I just couldn't, after one season, put him above guys like CP3 or Dame. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think Trae is more important to the Hawks offense than Ja is to the Grizzlies offense.
One thing I took into consideration when thinking about like that tier of players was also skill. And I feel like Ja Morant's athleticism kind of trumps some of the other players in that top 5.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I was looking at. I was like, yeah, Ja can do what they can do. And also he's athletically more skilled. So
Yeah,
that's
much more
why
gifted.
yeah. So that's why
Okay.
I put him into that.
That makes
tier.
sense. So you looked at it from like a raw skills standpoint,
Yeah.
essentially. Okay, well, I think that's going to do it for today's podcast. Let us know in the comments your top 10 point guard rankings, or just let us know who you disagree with, Ethan. I want to thank you guys all for watching. I'm going to ask that you please subscribe, drop a like, as I said, leave a comment, and we will see you guys in the next episode.